So here's the scenario. You found an image online that you want to use in a product to sell. What could go wrong? Well, there's three things you need to understand in that situation to avoid a whole bunch of disappointment. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to pick the right tooling and use it properly to avoid all of these problems, and you'll never get sued. So let's get started. Hey, it's Steve, welcome back. Now I'm just going to jump right in here on these three things that I mentioned. And this is really just to save time because the problems here aren't really the interesting part. The really interesting thing here is the solution to these problems. But here's the first of these three problems you're going to run into, which is you can spend hours searching online on places like Google Images and you can never find exactly what you want. So that in itself is a big issue. The second thing you're going to notice there is that there's a lot of different file formats. There's bitmap formats like JPEG or PNG. Then there's vector formats like Corel formats or SVG or other things. And you really want to standardize on a single format. And finally, if you're pulling images from online sources that you're not either paying for or giving attribution for, you can run into a legal minefield. And I know people have argued this with me and tried to diminish the seriousness of this, but I personally know people who've been ordered to take things down, and that shuts down their whole Etsy store, so they're effectively out of business. Or in the worst case, they can get sued. And I guarantee you, if you're using some digital property from Disney, they're going to find you and they will sue you. So keep that in mind. Now, we can dive into those three issues in a lot more detail, but I'm just going to cut to the chase and say the way to solve those problems before you even have to dig too deep into them is to use the right technology and the right tool. Now, I have no artistic ability whatsoever. I can barely draw a line with a ruler. So I need a tool, and that tool for me is a tool called Kittl, which has AI technology in it. It's had it for a long time, but Kittl has recently released a new version of their tool, and the AI got a whole lot better. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I create vector images specifically, so think SVG, using Kittl's AI, and how you can do it to generate things that you can use without worry of copyright. You can generally get something that's a lot closer to what you're looking for, and you don't have to worry about lawyers knocking on your door. So let's get started. I'll fire up Kittl. I'll show you just something we can do. I'll walk through some of the vector formats or vector styles, I'll say, that they support, and show you how to get them out to an SVG file and into Lightburn, and then I'll cut an image from what I generate, and you can see how easy it is. So let's get going. Okay, so here we are in Kittl, and you can see there's just a bunch of templates to start with, but I'm going to create a new project, and I'll just use the standard format, and I'll skip right out to the menu here. So down on the side, you can see this button at the bottom called Kittl AI, and I'm going to select that. And then I can choose, either I can make a logo or I can just generate an image, and I'm going to choose an image. Now I can create a different aspect ratio, which is something new in version 2. And then I can choose the style. And the ones we're interested in are these vector styles, and I'll bring them up here, and you can see they range from just basic vector art down to things like coloring book style, which is nice, street art if you want something spray painted. If you're using a laser, you probably never use that one, but you might use some of these others, line art especially. So I'll just say that I'm going to generate something that is we'll pick coloring book style, and then I can say something generic like I want a chihuahua, if I can spell chihuahua. Close enough. And you can see it'll go off and generate, and it'll take a few seconds, and I now have a coloring book style chihuahua just in some generic format. But if I want to modify this, I can say a chihuahua facing forward, growling, let's say. So we can be very specific about things, and I could say, make them short-haired. And again, we'll go off and generate. And you can see I got a different one, and he's facing forward and he's growling, which is kind of cool. He's mostly short-haired, I'll say. Now, that in itself may be good enough if you just want to engrave that as, say, an image. But let's say you want to do something that's a little more deep engraving. So again, I'll bring up the vector styles, and we could have cartoon, but I'll say line art, and let's see what that one generates. So there's a line art one. It's not really as nice, but if you're doing something like a CNC engrave, that's probably perfect, because you can just click on all these lines and say engrave these with maybe an 1/8 inch bit or something. But let's try a different one. Let's try cartoon and see what we get. We'll use the same query. And there we go. That's a much better one for laser engraving. Let me just scale it here a bit. Now, because these are we're going to plan to make these vectors, the size that we're actually going to show here doesn't matter, because we're going to export it as a vector anyway. But you can see this one. I'll take this one actually, and I'll do an engrave on it. And if I have time, I might actually put it on a CNC, do a CNC job as well. So this is the one I want. So let me just get rid of the rest of these, or actually let me do this. I'll just create another artboard, because that makes things easier. And I'll just put my Chihuahua on there. He's not actually growling. This is the hazards of AI. Let me actually just generate another one just to see if I can get a better result closer to my request. Well, he's a little less happy, we'll say, but it worked okay. Actually, maybe I'll take this one. It's a little cleaner design from an engraving perspective. And now what I'm going to do, let me just grab this one and move it out of the way. We can close this. And now I need to export this. And again, I want to make it an SVG file, so I'll pick the artboard and I'll go over here and I'll say download. Now normally it would be something like a PNG file, but I'm actually going to pick SVG and just say I want to download that, and it now put it on my machine. And I can literally take that over to a Lightburn instance and do an engrave, and that's what I'll do now. So I dropped the image into Lightburn, and I apologize for the right edge being clipped off here, but I set the speed to 18,000 millimeters a minute and the power is 80%. And I just shot it over to the Xtool S1 40 watt. And you can see it engraving here. No real surprises from an engraving perspective. It came out fantastic, and you can see from the result here that once I pull it off the bed, it just looks amazing. And the beauty was I didn't have to really do a whole lot of effort other than type a description of what I wanted. Okay, so you see from the output there that it came out really well. It was very simple to create this. 5 minutes of typing some creative description to get exactly what I wanted. I don't have to worry about being sued by anybody. And it comes in a format that I actually care about, in this case SVG. So I definitely keep coming back to Kittl, and I keep bringing it back to you because I legitimately think this is a valuable tool. And I will put a link in the description down below. It doesn't actually save me any money. It's not an affiliate link. So it doesn't really benefit the channel, but it does benefit you, because if you use that link, you'll save 25% off of either a monthly subscription, so 25% off the first month, or if you're buying an annual subscription, 25% off a year. And that just makes it much more appealing. I have the pro version of this and I use it almost every day. And I think you'll enjoy it too if you're doing any kind of laser engraving where you want to do custom imagery. So with that, I'll wind down and I'll say get out there, make your world, and I'll see you next time.